Hi guys, welcome to the live. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Um, I and sorry to Kent as well because I said we were going to do a live earlier, but I spent most of the besides working, I got off, and then I spent most of the afternoon talking with Belynda, and that was a great conversation. She was in. We did a test for tomorrow because Belynda, she will be joining us now. Her camera will not be on, just so you know that, but her picture's there, and she'll be joining us tomorrow. So I'm so grateful for that. And Bev, she is the, oh my God, can't even think for a second here. What's the word? Child protection lawyer from the United Kingdom. Oh, got to mute you for a second there. Can't hear, I'm hearing feedback a little bit. You good? You good, buddy?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So so how I plan on it happening tomorrow is, Charmaine, Bev, and Belynda. Kent will be in the chat. And we're going to talk about a couple of things tomorrow for sure. One of them will be about her son, Cody. The second thing we'll be doing is Bev. She has some scenarios, and I want to allow Bev and Belynda to be able to have a discussion, and for anything that Belynda has any questions about, because UK is very similar to the Canada when it comes to privacy, and we're very similar. Let's just put it that way. Unlike the United States, you guys. And of course, and then after that, Belynda's going to go into. So she arrived on May 3rd, the day after, to help in the search to find Jack and Lily. So she is going to walk us through that day. She was there 3 times. Okay, so she's going to walk us and in a straight line through that day, right? So about what she saw, what she, her perception of everything and stuff like that. So that's going to be a great live tomorrow, and that's going to be at 2:30 PST time here. So I'm from Western Canada, so it's 2:30 me. It's going to be 10:30 Bev, and it's going to be 6:30 for, of course, Belynda over there. So really looking forward to that. But before we even get started into anything, you guys, please hit that like and the share for Lily. If we could, I don't really ask this. I mean, I hate ask you guys to hit the like and the share, but if we could get to 100, just like right now, because there's 180 people watching. So if you guys haven't smashed that like, please do it. Never for the sake of the channel. Always do it for the victims of the murdered and the missing. You guys can see, I got chat going on with their beta stuff going on with StreamYard here, and you guys can see some chat going on down in the right hand corner. But if you guys could do that, we're at 74 likes. I mean, just you guys come smash that thing. But if we could just get started by instantly having 100 likes, that would be amazing and awesome. So thank you guys again. Thank you, Kent, for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. And Charmaine, she's busy. She has family coming and stuff like that. She's always in here, and she'll probably be in chat a little bit, but either Charmaine will be here tomorrow, like I said. So just give some quick shout outs. Hi, Lisa. How are you? Carol, thanks for being here. Hi, Cindy B. How are you? There's Nurse Chancey. How are you? Hope everyone is well. Absolutely. Let's see here. We got Mama Angie. AI Henry. How are you? Annette. Wait, I know someone, Annette. Oh boy, this case has me on the edge of my seat every single day. Not gonna lie, same. Hurts my brain, but that's okay. You know what? It's about the awareness of the case of Jack and Lily. And again, want to be grateful for all the YouTubers that either they're covering the case or they're using a lot of the footage from the case and stuff like that. So I want to give shout outs to them as well. I know Joseph Morse is covering the case, I know that Clutch Some Pearls is covering the case. Dolly Vision's covering the case. Michelle After Dark, again, shout out to you. She keeps shouting the channel out. Same with Joseph Morris and stuff like that. Again, I want creators to use the content if they deem that they want to. I'm not the type of person to copyright strike anybody. Again, we're here to work as a team. That's how I feel about it personally. And to me, if someone can bring awareness to any of the cases that we follow and stuff like that, I'm all for that. This isn't about being selfish or trying to, like I said, copyright strike people. This is about caring about cases that I don't care about that stuff. But if you're going to use the content, don't bash the channel. and then use the content, then you're probably going to piss me off just a little bit. I'm just not going to.
Well, if that's the case, don't watch Clutch and Pearls tonight.
Was he bashing the channel?
Well, no, he's just bashing all the info.
Oh, well, you know what? I mean, again, each to their own on that part. Mike Damon, of course, he did apologize because he did use content and he was being kind of mean, weren't you, Mike? But anyways, he did apologize. Sweetie Pilo had also sent me a message saying that he was really sorry for the way that he had spoken to us and stuff like that. Again, just want to be sincere and honest in everything that we do. Everything is going to be about facts. And then the side part is speculation, in my opinion, allegedly, all that stuff. We never want to.
Aaron's in the chat.
Is he? Hi, Darren. Yep. Well, let's give a shout out to Darren as he speaks as well. So again, whether it's Daniel, whether it's Darren, whether it's Belynda, whether it's Logan, anytime a family member is speaking, regardless, you can take it with whatever grain of salt or big grain of salt that you want, but you should really listen, okay? Because those are the most important details that they're coming. Whether you guys deem them as truthful or not, it's totally up to you, right? Everyone has their own personal thoughts regarding this case. You know, some think that they both somehow did it, Daniel and Malaya. Some think that it's just Daniel, something that it's just Malaya. Who knows? All I know is that it's always good to discuss a case, keep awareness about it, but always remember that the only thing I care about, and I told Belynda this today, Belynda, you come second to the children, and she's well aware of that. This is about Jack and Lily, okay? This is about two missing beautiful children right before you that coming up to 2 months on the 2nd of July here, and we don't know what happened to Jack and Lily. So there's a poll basically that I put out there about if you think that like above 80% that you think about the theory, we'll call it, to what Darren and Daniel are talking about with Malaya hiding these kids. And so you guys, again, we'll check that poll back in just a little bit. But most importantly, please hit the like and the share. Please do it for this, not the channel. I was going to say the channel. That's not what I was actually going to say. But I was going to say Belynda. She's the one that has asked just to everyone, just please keep the children's faces out there, right? So how do we do that? What's our small little part that we can do for Belynda and the rest of the family members that truly, truly want to know what happened to Jack and Lily? That's the least we can do for them, right? So with that being said, thank you guys all for being here. I'm going to be way behind here. I'm going to say a couple more shout outs. Hi, Torontonian. How do you say that even? Because obviously he's from Toronto, but I've never really seen someone put Torontonian, I guess. I guess I'm a Vancouverian. So hi, Native Girl. How are you? Paige, how are you? Got my same niece's name of spell in there. I see Stella. Kent's in the house on there. Yeah, so I mean, whatever Justin wants to say on his channel and do, obviously that's totally up to him. You know, and what he believes or what, you know what? If everyone was the same, this would be a boring ass world, is all I can say for sure. Hi, little mama. Okay. Hi, Lee. How are you? I feel for Darren. I believe him. Respect for all he has done. Family involvement thought from day one for me, and this makes sense. And you know what? And for a lot of people, this could absolutely make sense. Trust me, I think all of us would love to see these two children be found alive and hidden somewhere. Okay, that would be the most magical, exceptional, best case scenario that we could possibly have. I would be so grateful if truly it turns out this way. But at the end of the day, we still have to be realistic and look at all the information before us and make our own assumptions. And then whatever happens, it happens, right? Not going to change, in a sense, the outcome. The outcome will be what it will be. But we can definitely look and see with the information. That's why it's really important that you guys listen to family. Whether or not you believe it or not, it's still, if the family is talking, it helps bring the awareness out there. And also they have to stick to what they're saying, right? So if you put it in a text message and stuff like that, regardless, right? Obviously, again, I mean, I'm pretty sure RCMP ain't that much of a dumbasses, right? RCMP, on this one. I mean, you should have collected those cameras sooner, but we'll let that one pass, and hopefully that you're doing, everything you can, which I believe you are, to find what happened to Jack and Lily.
But I like going into that camera situation. Like, unless they would have just come out and said, "All right, everybody in a 10-mile radius, give us your cameras." The way that I look at the cameras, if you listen to the dispatch audio, where they set up the command post on the road, well, just up from there and this was day 2, they found a trail camera pointing towards the road. So they said, let's try to track down the owner. So they did that. Within their initial search grid that they done for 6 days, I don't think they found any other cameras in the woods. When they went asking for more camera footage is after they done the first secondary search, and they found they were on the corner of the property, I believe, of Mrs. Scott's, and down in the other direction. So then they went and they asked, but from that day, instead of asking for Mrs. Scott's, like it was still, that was on the weekend, but it was like Thursday that we finally seen the interview with Mrs. Scott getting her trail cam footage. I think that's the sooner point where they could have got more trail cam footage was from the weekend to Thursday. But they didn't know that there was any other cameras in the woods in their search area until they expanded their search area. And then again, on the other one is when and then as far as the dash cam footage, well, then that's after they did their investigation and they said, all right, let's see if there's anybody, because a lot of the traffic, because like I say, this road isn't heavily traveled, but it is, I mentioned one night on a live before, that it is fairly heavily traveled by logging trucks, because there's going down that old way to Stewiacke is the way that you travel to go to one of the biomass mills down there. So a lot of the logging trucks would have dash cams because, like I said that night, that when they pull into the yards, they can get their weights and it records them. And that way, if they write it down wrong, they can verify it after the fact and all that. So then with newer cars, and I know that like everybody says, well, it overrides, they lose after so long. Well, yeah, but some post stuff to the cloud and whatever. But just because the car, they're looking for dash cam, depending on the setup of the cameras on the car, they can also see a side view. So then they can drive by and they can see and possibly get additional license plates that was parked in the driveway for that time they were looking. So I give them a little bit of a break on the trail cams because, like I say, other than coming right out off the bat and saying, listen, if you live within 10 miles and you got cameras, let us know. The fact is they didn't know that those other cameras were out there until they expanded their search areas.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks, Ken. So let's remind. So I'm from Western Canada. I'm from the Vancouver area. Kent, say where you're from, of course.
Pictou.
Pictou County. Charmaine's from Shuswap area up here in BC. And of course, so it's a pleasure again, Kent. I can't say this enough, okay? I really appreciate, we've become friends in a sense now. You've been so good at sending links and being a very loyal person. You actually remind me of, I have a friend named Lewis, and you sound like him on top of the fact that, just a great person. And I just want to thank you again for coming across your path, and during this case. Thank you for being just a solid person. I want to say that. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah. Now, and I know I shouldn't go back, but I'm going to go back to this comment here. All the speculation isn't helping the real case. It's distracting investigations with false leads. Young. So I get what you're saying, Jackson. But tell me a true crime case that's out there that nobody's speculating or talking about it in the true crime community. It's what we do. Okay. Obviously, there's going to be speculation. It's not going to stop. And now, people setting in false leads is a different matter. Like some people don't have brain cells and they'll, somebody happened to what? Be driving a car probably 5 blocks away from there 2 days later, and they'll send in that tip or something like that. It's sometimes people don't really think, when they send stuff in and just how much it bogs down a case. So that part I will agree with. But, are we going to stop that? Absolutely not. Am I going to fix the world in a day? Because Rome certainly wasn't built in a day. Not going to happen, But hopefully people use common sense. But that's not always a given with people, right? Common sense doesn't like everybody. Some people just don't have it. So I can't control that part. At the end of the day, we are going to speculate, but we're always going to talk about the facts of a case. And facts, by that I mean whatever RCMP says and whatever family member says. Those are from the horse's mouths. Anyone that's to do within the family circle there. And Ellie, of course, giving us updates. Okay. Other than that, everything else is just speculation on top of that. And we try to always have as many receipts as we can, because obviously we're well aware how the true crime community works. And right, so if we're going to say something and stand behind it, then we're going to show you receipts. Now, if we can't, then that's going to be speculation, or in our opinion, but it's going to be a more speculation. So we can't say that Lily and Jack are alive and well, but we can certainly hope and pray that theory, or whatever you want to call it, is the right. Like, honestly, what can I say about that? Who wouldn't want that to happen to children? Who wouldn't want that? This is just a nasty thing that got out of control, and that Jack and Lily, are somewhere in somebody's home somewhere being taken care of. That would be the best outcome, of course, right? So I'm going to look at the glass as always half full instead of half empty until something tells me different, regardless. But I'm still going to look at everything, And if people send me stuff, I'm going to look at that too. Not always. Sometimes I might have seen it already. But I still appreciate you guys sending it to me at crimeandshame@gmail.com. And I know that there's a few emails that came in that I haven't had time to overly look at. But thank you guys for that. Let's see here. Somebody said something a second ago. Why did you get in shit for that? They got nothing from the footage to date right. People throwing this out there, no cadaver dogs used to, where in the heck do these people get their information? It sure wasn't the RCMP. Well, it's true, right? They're not going to sit there and come out and go, you know what? Here you guys go. Here's all our information. Obviously not. There's so much more.
Yeah, I am now.
Pardon?
No, go ahead.
Who?
Nothing. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Hi Angie. Ricky Lynn, how are you? Norcraft, how are you? Jane, thank you so much for that super chat. 1 second. So thanks so much for that. Obviously, I didn't want to cut off Kent as he was talking. Appreciate that. But I also, there was somebody that sent me a PayPal the other day, and it's Peggy Day. So Peggy Day, I know that you watch this channel all the time. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. And I meant to say it yesterday. Was I live yesterday? Were we live yesterday? Seriously, were we live yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, can't remember. The days all run together. I work, do lives. Work, do lives. Are you sure we did a live yesterday? Why do I feel like I had a day off? Huh. Anyway, thank you so much. Anyways, just wanted to make sure I got that out there. So this is obviously Darren, Darwin. Darren. No home. Think I will see if I can get a seniors or room, something like that. Thanks for concern. Absolutely. At the end of the day, uh, Darren's passion for Jack and Lily, to me is absolutely sincere. Okay. Whether you believe in the information or not, um, his drive, his quest for the truth is sincere. And with that being said, it's obviously put his life because people start posting, well, obviously his picture, but I mean, that's kind of to be expected a little bit, to be honest with you, definitely in true crime. But then, like addresses and attacking the family through messengers and stuff like that, that's not cool. That's just pathetic, to be honest, that people actually do that stuff. But uh, sadly, some people don't realize just how far people take it in the true crime world because they're sick, twisted a-holes that do stuff like that. So please, if you have any brain cells listening to me at all, it is just so irresponsible doing something like that to somebody's messenger, to end to cases, calling people killers, saying all these nasty shit and stuff like that. You sit behind a keyboard typing this crap. Meanwhile, you're probably some like 4 foot nothing zero nobody in life, but behind a keyboard, you're a power warrior, that you can say all these nasty things. So I recommend that stuff happens. You guys charge those people, because it's not like their Facebooks. They can't trace it right back to where it's all coming from, because that's just nasty to do stuff like that. Anyways, so where he was staying with this female, she wanted him out because of all this ruckus that was going around, like he was talking about yesterday and stuff like that. And I said to Darren, well, maybe you should stay quiet for a little bit, right? Because we know how it works. Like when you've been in true crime, you know how exactly what's going on, And he's like, nope, Sonny, I don't care. I'm still going to keep fighting for Jack and Lily. Still going to keep. So he's doing what his heart is telling him to do. So knowing full well that people put out threats and stuff, and which is crazy. So bless you, Darren, regardless if people believe you or not. Bless you for having that type of passion and care for a family member. But just to put yourself out on the line like that, you're going to live and learn from this experience. I'll tell you that much. Never give out your name and spell it out for people. But in saying that, what's done is done on that. And everything happens for its reasons regardless. But anyway, so bless you for your heart and passion into looking for answers for Jack and Lily is what I want. Did you want to say anything to that?
Well, I just want to address somebody saying that in the chat that somebody said that they called RCMP to report the info that Darren had given, and the RCMP said they have no proof that Darren contacted them.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to tell you whether somebody called and gave a tip or not. And the reason why I know that is because I called in on Monday with one detail just to leave them a message to say, listen, this is what I heard and what somebody told me, and I don't know if it's true or not. And I know some of them, the Mounties, and I said, I'm just wondering that because this information was supposed to come from somebody else before this, and which would have been Darwin. And they said, well, we can't tell you whether or who we were talking to or who we weren't talking to. And I wasn't expecting them to, but so whoever was saying that they didn't get the response from the RCMP when they were checking up on Darren to see whether he reported or not. That's the same as the RCMP telling us whether or not Daniel passed his lie detector.
Thank you, Pete.
They're not going to tell you that stuff.
I was going to say, I called the RCMP like 4 or 5 days ago. I called Sellerton first. She basically said, not my jurisdiction, call the RCMP. So I said, well, what's the number for that? Honestly, she actually talked to me kind of ignorantly, like meaning it's like she was just like, let me just get you the number. Oh, thank you. Could you? I mean, what else are you doing besides your freaking nails or eating something at this time of night? I literally, it's like totally late there. But anyways, so I would expect that we know that for sure people are calling in, giving information. So when I did call the RCMP, she just said, like, what's your channel? And I said, it's a crime and shame. Nobody called me back at all, and honestly, so did I call the major crime unit as well, type of thing. I want to know that regardless, right, that this information that they have it all, and I know that they do, but I would feel badly. I don't ever take anyone's word as gospel regardless, but it's not really even about that. It's making sure that I'm doing my due diligence, just like you did, just like Darren's doing, just like anyone else, right, you guys? Because if you feel like the information's not out there, but chances are they probably got about freaking 200 calls from people at least going, okay, but there's a person talking on It's a Crime and Shame. You better listen to what this person, do you even know about it? Yeah, probably, absolutely. But at least I feel whole at my heart knowing that, okay, you know what? I'm still going to do my due diligence, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I would be not very good if I sat there and was like, and didn't at least acknowledge to them, like, hey, just so family members are talking on It's a Crime and Shame, like they don't know that. Probably, of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
Ask, the Darren told me that when he gave, because when he tried to get the crime unit, they weren't around, so it was on Saturday. So it was just the regular members of the Stellarton RCMP that took his statement, and he said he was there for about 45 minutes.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, if you're going to say something, right, regardless, if you're going to put something out there, doesn't matter who it is, right, is that then you better back up that stuff that you're saying behind it. Or when I say back it up, meaning that, if you're going to put it out there, then you have to, obviously, you can't hide from it, right? It's what you said is what you said. What you text is what you text. What doesn't matter who it is, what case it's on, right? Again, either people can be quiet and not say anything if they don't want to, but there's people out there that are fighters and just want to fight for justice and want truth. So I'm all for it. If a family member wants to talk, type of idea. But I mean, we have to take our stuff that Darren's saying with a grain of salt too, right? It's not like it's factual.
Yeah.
Some of the information, he's trying to dig himself, and other information he's getting obviously from Daniel and stuff. And he's trying to put the scenario together of what could have happened to the children, right? Yeah. So just like anybody, right? Probably the only person I'm going to believe in my life is myself, the most. My husband, second. My twin sister. And that's about
family.
It. Maybe Charmaine.
That's where the family comes in, right?
Right.
And Popeye, do I believe that it's getting in the way of the investigation? Not within the last week and a half, because the RCMP hasn't updated, stating that they're getting an overwhelming number of tips. Every time they did, it went from like over 100 to 180, and then from over 180 to over 300, and from over 300 to 500. And they're still asking for anything from the public. So anybody that's local and family and related, I think that they'll take those calls from everybody every day of the week until they get enough info to probably put something together. Yeah. But somebody in Alberta calling in to say that, oh, I heard this online or that online, you got to understand they probably have people watching these channels because they know where people are talking, and they know that some family members are apparently talking. So they're going to be listening to the channels like A Crime and Shame, Dollywood, Clutch and Pearls, and a few others that are doing the stuff that family members are contacting.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to know. Because if you also look back at what they stated that they interviewed over 54 people was the last number that we've heard. So who do you think that those 54 people are that they interviewed? Are they local family members and extended family? Or are they somebody from Alberta?
Right, exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
So all these family members, as they speak and as they're like, the one question that I think we all ask is, well, if Darren's scenario or Joe Blow's scenario or Rebecca's scenario, whoever it comes from, if those are the cases of what happened, why is it that we're still going down this road that we don't get the truth and the whole story? Well, I think I used to say there was only two people that could give us the whole story. But now,
right,
I believe that it's probably because the second person that could give you the whole story isn't going to be the whole story, because some of it he wasn't in the presence to witness. So, therefore, I believe there is only one person that can give the whole story. And Jackson, I'm not trying to bash Alberta at all. It's just I bring up Alberta because it's Western. Like, I'm trying to get the distance factor. I can say BC or Saskatchewan or Manitoba, because as far as I'm concerned, Ontario East is just a hop, skip, and a jump. You can be in Ontario in 18 hours if you want to drive straight through. So it's not that I'm bashing Alberta. I'm just pointing out and trying to make it the distance factor that these people calling in, it can be from the UK. But who do you think the RCMP are going to interview or listen to? Local family members that are talking because they're getting frustrated because the story's gone on now for, 8 weeks and 2 days, or somebody from the UK, if you want me to use somewhere else other than Canada. That's all I'm saying on that is distance.
Well, I was going to say, so Jackson, get off that high horse of yours and come back down there, okay? Because, I mean, again, as long as you're remaining respectful in chat, you can stay. If you get on this side of being rude or ignorant, your ass is going to be out of here, and I don't care. But I'm from Alberta. I'm from BC, but I've spent half my life in Alberta, so there's no offense about this. But for you, sorry, but I'm speaking to you directly on this one, and actually anyone else too that's on the same path. If you want to come in here on your high horse and stuff like that, I'll take your ass off that saddle and take you out of here, because I honestly. This isn't about what right do you have to tell us. What knowledge do you have that we are hindering the case or something like that, or that people should only think your way? You have a right to think whatever you want, even though it's a very closed-minded way, in my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, Jackson, again, everyone's entitled to do what we want within, like this channel. Again, this is to talk about cases of the missing and murdered and doing in a respectful way. But still, at the end of the day, are we going to speculate all day long, all day on Sunday, every day that ends in Y? Why? Because regardless, it's going to happen. But you have to put out the facts of the case. There's the facts. Okay, and that's what we always try to put out there is here's the facts. Here's the best information we have. And it's family speaking, okay? So come off the high horse a little bit there. And if you don't want to watch this and it's somehow hindering the investigation, you probably are best to go to a knitting channel or something like that. Do something. But other than that, I appreciate everyone's love and support for the channel, for Jack and Lily, first and foremost. That's what this is about. If you feel like it's hindering it, too bad, so sad. Don't care. Again, people want to talk about it. People are going to speculate as long as it's speculation. We can do that. It happens all day long. Go watch any other true crime channel and everyone's going to be talking, besides the news. They'll do it differently, of course, because they obviously write the news. And anyone, don't ever talk about money when you guys watch the news channels and they get paid to cover cases. They don't care about the cases they're covering typically, right? They're just covering it because it feeds them money. Whatever hot news is out there, this channel is not about money. I don't ask for donations. All we want you to do is hit that like and the share for the family members only. If subscribers come out of this, which thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for caring so much about this case that, and being a Canadian, and I know a lot of Canadians, of course, are watching this, and some from the US, some are across the pond over there, where husband's from. I want to say thank you for getting this channel over 16K subs. It was when I went to bed, it was 15,995. And then it's grown. It's like 16,150 or 60 now or something like that. But I thank you so much. The reason why I'm thanking you is because when we follow cases, we do it with the integrity, honesty, and sincereness and openness as best as we can when it comes to things that we can share sometimes. And sometimes we can't share everything. But our hearts will always be here first and foremost for the victims, first and foremost, and then the families after that. Okay, so in saying that, because of you guys, it just brings more awareness to the channel. That's my thing in my life, right? Like I said, it's being loving, kind, caring, and being unselfish enough to realize that, there's more important things in this world than being selfish about things. And a lot of people that are in true crime right now, they're in it because something happened in their life. Maybe they just like following true crime. Maybe something happened to one of your family members that brought you over here. But I personally want to thank the people that don't go around trolling channels, that they just come here for the passion of cases. So thank you guys for helping build this channel up, because it wouldn't be just because of me. It's because of you guys for doing so. So I appreciate that, because I love to bring awareness to help the families out. That's what we do at this channel. Okay. Not into drama, not into arguments.
Yes. And going back to so I can finish the statement when we get on the Jackson, the one person, I seen somebody come up and said, well, who's that one person? Well, use some judgment. Who's the only person that we're not hearing from? Is the mother and Malaya. And I think that if Malaya was to speak, and I'm not asking her to come online and do what other people do, because everybody does different things at different times. But there is no reason for Malaya, who hasn't said a word since day 2 about these kids coming home and whatnot, can't make a statement once in a while through her lawyer, as I'm sure that she has spoken and stuff to the RCMP. We know that. But she doesn't owe the public generally anything. But if she was, everybody says, well, if these were my kids, I'd be out there hollering and screaming, I'd be searching. Well, yes, I think you would be. Other than the fact, if you knew that wasn't the case.
Absolutely.
So her silence
says a lot.
Says a lot. The same as we always talk about the RCMP silence, or what they say and what they don't say in their statements, tells us a lot. Then I think that we have to give that same mind thought to Malaya. And if these kids, and she had no idea of where they were or what happened or anything like that, I think she would be like any other parent or grandparent out there, asking questions, pleading for the kids to be found if she thought they were in the woods, pleading for the kids to be safely returned if they were abducted, pleading for whatever she thought the scenario was. But her silence tends to tell us that she knows something, and that's why she's not talking.
Can I cut in there?
So you can't force them to talk. It's like leading a horse to the water trough, but you can't make them drink.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you, Jackson. So everyone's trying to make sense of this case, but I want to say this, okay? One thing is, so these messages were sent to Belynda, or sorry, not sent to Belynda. It's between Belynda and Malaya, right? At the end of the day, Belynda cares about Jack and Lily, right? YOLO, what does she have to lose? Either Daniel and Malaya speak to her, what does she have to lose? If Daniel's telling the truth or Malaya's telling the truth, then these messages should mean nothing because you're telling the truth. To be honest with you, if you're going to talk to people behind the scenes and in lives and stuff like that, and put stuff out there, again, like, what does she have to lose by caring about Jack and Lily and go, hey, I want to know what happened. I would just like the truth. I would just like to know what happened to my grandbabies. And 1 second, I'm just going to cut myself off there. Kenny Cross, thank you so much for that super sticker. Bless you guys again. Thank you for, like I said, we don't ask for donations, but it's very much appreciated. It's not expected, but thank you so much. Okay. And again, if anyone wants to harp about people making money off true crime, okay, come on, get off your pot. Seriously. The people that always babble about that are the people that don't donate at all anyway. So if somebody wants to because they care about the channel, like the fact that I spend hours and hours every single day after work doing lives, and stuff like that. Somebody says, hey, Sunny, I really like you. I really love the channel. Stuff like that. Thank you, Kenny Cross. Okay. Thank you, Jane. And thank you, Annette. So anyone that says differently, kiss my royal ass. I don't have a royal ass, but if I did, you can kiss it on this one, because I just get so tired of people going, these people are making money off freaking true crime and stuff like that. Really? So if I went and played games and did live streams, that's okay. But somehow I'm not allowed to earn ad revenue from YouTube, or people aren't allowed to, just from the kind of stuff. I donate to channels. I donate to some of the channels out there. Why? Because I support what they're doing. And I'm like, it's like, here's a little something from me to you. Thank you for all you do. So I want to say that, but go ahead. You were squeaking. Were you going to say something there?
Nope.
Oh, okay. That's just your mic, the feedback. Okay. 1 second. Okay. So going back to Malaya on this one. Okay. So she took down her Facebook yet again, Malaya, yet again. So Malaya had time. She has nerve. I'm sorry, Malaya, but I'm just going to call you a spade on this one, because this is really pathetic. You literally put, so Belynda says, let's go back to this part again. Do you believe in your heart that Daniel could have hurt them? She, really? I don't know, but he's acting suspicious, and is too worried about what people think about him. Honestly, he doesn't come across that way. Doesn't seem too worried about what people thinking about him, and not focus on my kids at all. Really? Is that not the biggest pot of fucking black coffee, calling the kettle black? Seriously. So his focus isn't on your children as you hide from everybody, Malaya. Again, your family, what is everyone in your family doing to help? Right, there are some Brooks family, don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not speaking for all the Brooks side, because there are some Brooks people that go, you know what? Obviously, Malaya is innocent, or Daniel, whatever, did something here, blah, 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 blah. But, is instead of adding your friends and changing your single status and taking down Daniel's pictures, how about you get your ass to the public, beg for your children, come out, have your lawyer put out a statement for you. But you're doing the most oddest shit ever. You had the worst interview I ever saw of any case that I've followed so far. And yet you sit there and preach that Daniel not focusing on your kids, not his kids, your kids. How pathetic is that? But you can take your Facebook down. You can add some friends. You can sit there and paint your toenails and nails and stuff like that. You can run off with Meadow, get her taken away from you. Why? What are you hiding, Malaya? Honestly. I mean, honestly, when you look at everything, this is a very plausible line of thinking. At least it's plausible, okay? Because this is something that we see whack job cases. And this is whack job crazy, how this is going. I'm playing out why. The reason it is because truly they're both lying. They're both lying regardless. Because at the start of this whole situation, on May 2nd, right? I can play a clip right now, which I'm going to play soon. And of course, Daniel's talking about a timeline, but that's not the same time thing that he gave to Charmaine and talking to Charmaine about the whole 20 minutes and that he came out. So granted, right? Meaning there's inconsistencies. And I'll tell you one thing as well. If you want to truly make yourself look bad, it's the inconsistencies of somebody. So either if somebody's going to talk, and they don't have to, don't get me wrong, but if you're going to talk, then you should match the same things that you're saying over and not wait all this time to go, oh, wait, I was just covering for Malaya. Right? I'm just being real here, regardless, because I'm not here to go, oh my God, I love Daniel. Oh my God, I love Malaya. It's Jack and Lily. Okay. This is about Jack and Lily. So if someone's being inconsistent, then great. Clear it up. If you don't want the internet to attack you as bad, then don't be inconsistent in your statements. And if you are, then clear it up, because you don't owe anyone anything. But when you speak to the public, trust me, they're going to attack your ass in a matter of seconds like freaking flies to shit when you have inconsistent statements. So I know Darren said this about the timeline, and no offense to you, Darren, but a timeline means everything. So when 8 o'clock is set on the scanner, who said 8 o'clock? Obviously, Daniel or Malaya said 8 o'clock. That's how it made it to the scanner radio and why it came out. So if you're going to make statements like, well, Malaya's timeline at 10 was wrong, and Malaya sends a message to Belynda saying 9:40 is when the kids went missing, and then we hear of 8 o'clock, well, whose mouth did that come from, right? So if you want the public to kind of follow and go, you know what, that sounds believable, that makes sense, then yeah, if you're going to tell a timeline and you're being truthful, tell the damn timeline straight. Just tell it. Right? You don't have to give every little detail about this happened or that happened. But if you're going to tell a timeline, right, you want, that's the whole point, is a timeline. If there's no timeline and it goes like this to here to there, nobody's going to believe your worst shit. If you want people to at least believe in what you're saying, then tell the actual timeline. Like, I got up, I wasn't asleep. Lily came in at approximately 8 o'clock this morning. That's the last time that we've kind of seen them. Then we fell back to sleep, perhaps, but you don't sit there and say well, I was asleep, but not really asleep. And even though I said I was asleep type of thing, more so in the timeline. And then, so it was only 20 minutes that went by. And then, instantly I got in my truck and instantly my gut told me to call the police. And then, right. And then of course, Daniel's saying, well, no, I went into the woods. Then I saw Malaya on her phone, and she was talking to the police. But what happened to what you said there, Daniel? Right? Just keeping it real, right? So what about Daniel then saying, well, wait, no, Malaya was on the phone playing around and stuff like that. But you said that she was already on the phone, but yet you said that she said to you, should I call the police? And you're like, well, fuck yeah. Well, what would you do if kids were missing? Fuck yeah. Right. So, and then you say that, and I'm just keeping it real. Remember this, it's not about attack. This is about what you've said. Okay. So it doesn't matter if it's Malaya or you, this is about things that are out there. So if you say that when you came outside that your mom, Janie, the only reason why she came outside was because she heard you yelling for the kids. But that's not true, though, because Janie came out, missed Malaya, according to the story now. So all I'm saying is if you're wondering why people are so confused, it's about all these things that are said and then said differently, totally differently. And it makes people look like liars. So if you're not lying and you're going from point A to point, if you want the public to believe in you and trust in what you're saying because you're coming to the public with your story, then at least be consistent or come back and say, look, I was wrong about this time. This is it. Now, you don't owe us anything, but at the end of the day, then, if basically it's one of those things, if you want the public to believe in you, then you got to be truthful and you got to say it like it is. Say what you got to say and then fix that timeline. But right now, everyone's all over the place going, what the fuck is 8 o'clock and this o'clock? And Janie came out here, but no, you said there, and you came out of the woods here in 30 seconds and saw Malaya on the phone, and I'm going left and right. So how does that look when you have two missing children, right? These two missing children. So again, if you say that you're a truthologist and you always tell the truth, then we know it's a lie, because even I don't tell the truth all the time, okay? I try to be as best as I can, but sometimes I have to miniature lie, all right? But if you're going to put it out to the public, these are two children that deserve every ounce of care and love to find out what the truth is and what happened to them. Whether Daniel was involved, whether they both lied or whatever, but maybe they had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Bottom line is, we just want the truth. That's it. And if it comes to fruition that Daniel or Malaya, or you both had anything to do with the disappearance of, that's your karma. That's what you'll have to do with between you, your lips and God's ears. At the end of the day, internally, you'll know if you had something to do with them. We're not your judge and jury, but can we talk about it and speculate why? Absolutely. Malaya's interview was ridiculous, Oh, and Malaya, right? Literally, she bolted on your ass. Unless this was a plan by you both or something. She literally bolted on your ass. And what has she done besides go, well, if Daniel would just focus on the children more instead of caring what people think? Really? What a ridiculous thing to say. It's no different than her interview. Well, it was raining yesterday, sunny today. I just hope the kids are warm. I'm not going to say their names, and I'm not going to beg for help, for the public's help, but I just hope that they're warm, in some basement somewhere. But obviously you're talking about the woods, right? Because you're saying warm. What are the chances that the kids are, baking outside in the backyard of a pool of some abductor? Not going to happen. But you just hope that they're warm. So it's ridiculous. So she bolts on your ass. I don't know what kind of love we're talking about here, but I absolutely get it. When you love someone, think about this yourself, you guys. If your husband or wife at all, if you put them in this situation yourself, would you be willing to lie for them? Some of you might go no right away. And you know what? I don't know. If I love my husband so much that I couldn't possibly see that, he was part of any of this, kind of like how Daniel feels about Malaya, that, she's been brain warped and she wouldn't do it, but maybe he thinks differently now. Who knows? But, that Cindy, the evil, wicked stepmother or mother-in-law, had everything to do with it. And he wants to claim Malaya as being innocent of all this and stuff like that. Sometimes, you guys, it's true. Love, you can do the most stupidest shit in the world over love. And we've seen it happen time and time and time again. I never want to fault some people for being in love. Love is the most important thing to me in my space. And so I understand it if someone is trying to protect someone as well. So if Daniel did lie because he was trying to protect Malaya, because he loves her and he doesn't want to see anything bad happen.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? It sounds like you're blowing your nose. That's what's coming through the speakers. Anyways, not preaching here, guys. Just telling it like it is, how I see it. So clean it up. Clean up your storyline. Tomorrow, for anyone coming in, by the way, Belynda, this will be her first time. Besides her doing her interview, of course, with the news there, Belynda, the grandmother, will be joining us tomorrow. She will not be on camera, but she'll have her pixel face right there. we set it up. I did a test run with her to make sure she could come and find Bev, who's a child protection lawyer out of the UK, very similar laws to Canada. She'll be joining us as well. And Belynda will be going. She'll be talking about her son Cody and talk about that. And then Belynda and Bev can talk. Bev wants to talk about the different case scenarios about this case. And again, child protection lawyer. She was a defense attorney prior to that. She's been in it for 26 years. I hope I got that right there, Bev. But anyway, so we're looking forward to that. And then after that, Belynda's going to tell us about her events, about what happened on May 3rd when she was there, when she arrived for the search. Belynda's been there 3 times since the children were missing. The last time, I believe, was on the 18th of May. But she's going to tell us her perception and what she saw that day as best as she can. And guess what? In a flowing manner. Ooh, like that. You know, the truth just goes like that. It doesn't do like this, right? This is the truth. It should sound like this. So all I have to say about that is just, if you put information out there, like about 2 sweaters that are being found, if the kids are found with 2 sweaters and you put that out there and it's just random shit, who's not going to go, oh my God, why would somebody say that? Okay, that's bad. So perhaps consider clearing it up, right? The truth is the truth. And the truth, you know, it's easy to tell the truth, right? If you're not lying, then everything should stay consistent. But if you did lie for the sake of Malaya, just maybe admit to it. Because honestly, I don't know what kind of love circle going on there, but she obviously doesn't feel like you're looking for her kids enough there, Daniel. Heaven forbid, right? Poor Malaya, who doesn't do anything. Sorry, Malaya, calling a spade. You might be innocent of anything, but you know what? I still going to say is, if you're a mother and you're not using your Facebook instead of playing these games with up, down, and all around with your stupid Facebook, how about you and your family members, besides some of them are, why don't you use that to bring awareness to your own 2 children's case? How about putting a new poster up there? How about saying something? You know, Delphi case, guys, the grandmother, okay? Belynda's fight here for Jack and Lily in the Delphi case, if you've never heard of it, Delphi murders, okay, 7 years. And it took 5 years for them to actually, find out the person that was actually on the bridge that day. And he was convicted. Amen. Hallelujah. About time. Okay. Things can take a while. But the grandmother, Becky Patty, every day, a post was put up saying, today is the day. Today is the day. Right? You got Belynda here, you know, every day or all the time we talk, almost every single day. Why? Because it doesn't matter. You know, if Daniel's being truthful, answer back Belynda's messages. You know, if you got nothing to hide and say, you know, and you can answer it and make, you know, and again, apologies if there was information that did come out that, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, this isn't about you, Daniel. And this isn't about Malaya per se. This is about Jack and Lily. That's the only thing that I care about. And then secondly to that is Belynda. And after that is any other family members that truly care about Jack and Lily. But
Sabrina, you asked why there is $150,000 reward.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's obvious. The RCMP put the request to the province under the province's reward program. And the reason why they would do that, it's not because they're not getting no tips. It's that they're not getting the tip that they need. They need certain pieces of information from certain people, and they're trying to entice them out with the ability, because you're not guaranteed to get the full 150,000. It's up to 150,000, and it depends on the tip and the information that you give, and whether the children are found safe or not, whether you would get the full 150,000. They look at that. So the obvious reason that they have the reward out there now is because they're looking for a certain piece of information to go along with their investigation, to put the loops together. Because if you got a straight line and a break and a straight line and a break and a straight line and a break. Well, you got nothing. And I've heard in the last 2 or 3 days that people saying, and I seen a video today with Kayla interviewing. It was that extended RCMP interview from just the other
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And she said to them, to the Manny, that I don't think you got any information. And the video, and I think it was Joseph Morris that said it, but just the way that he said it, he said, she's putting him on the spot. He
Mhm.
doesn't like the fact that she's calling into question his competency
Yeah.
of being able to get and whether or not they've got any information because they're not giving
Yeah.
any note.
I like her
So I think
question.
that's why there's $150,000 reward out there, is because they want to try to get the tip that they need to crack the case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I do, because I just saw Darren put that up there. Yes, if Janie has allowed that, again, trust is earned, right? And again, I know that Darren is doing this for the right reasons, and it's for Jack and Lily. So it's kind of like, at the end of the day, everyone has their thoughts about it. But hey, if Janie says, you know what, like, 'cause she wasn't talking we know that, okay? We know that Janie and Justin haven't said shit all, to at least any YouTubers and stuff like that, to the RCMP, and that's perfectly fair enough. But family members start getting frustrated after a while, regardless. They do. Um, and it's because they're not seeing any motion happening, and they don't know if the RCMP is being competent enough. So they start second guessing what's going on. They get antsy, and then they start getting feisty. It's kind of like a divorce, right? First, you kind of are sad, then you get pissed off, and then you move along, and it's like, F you, blah, 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 type of thing. So that kind of is what happens here, right? So if Janie allows Darren, obviously it's best if Janie's saying it, but hey, our second best would be Darren saying it for Janie, because if she's a woman of her word, like Darren has said, she's a very strong personality, and that she's only been talking to the RCMP and stuff like that. And again, if she's allowed him to use the information to bring forth to us to have some more insight, then thank you. Thank you so much, Janie, for allowing Darren to speak on your behalf. At the end of the day, again, if there's no guilt, then the truth is easy. Bottom line, right? But this fight, right, it's not about Daniel. So anyone that says that I'm sucking up Daniel's ass, kiss my ass. Okay? It's not about Daniel that way. It's not about Malaya that way. It's about Jack and Lily, 1000% full tilt. Always about them. It has to be always about the victims. These beautiful children, they deserve to have answers, or to find out whatever happened to these beautiful kids. It breaks my heart that I even have to look at these pictures, let alone talk to Belynda, in a situation like this. Sometimes, like I said, me and Belynda were talking for at least a couple hours, trying to get ready for, set up the live for tomorrow and stuff like that. And then we ended up talking, and it's one of those things. I'm so grateful that she's going to be joining us tomorrow, because I had asked her 3 times. And, to me, it was never to push. It was like, and then she's just said, no, I prefer to stay in the messenger if that's okay, and now you see the right time. She, like, when I seen her say, I would like to, basically, I'm like, or she said, I think I will. And I was like, oh, sweet. Right. Because it's one thing when you hear someone behind messenger, but everyone likes to hear voices from, the family members and stuff like that. Her fight is for Jack and Lily. Remember that. 1,000 million trillion %. These are her grandbabies. So you guys are hitting that like and that share button. You're doing it for Jack and Lily, and you're doing it for Belynda. And behind that, any other family members that just want to have answers for Jack and Lily. They deserve it. Absolutely. My passion will always be about children and pets, right, Belynda? Children. right? My passion is about people. But if I had to say which ones hurt my heart the most, it's children first, because they don't deserve it, right? They're innocent. They don't deserve any of this shit that's going on right now. So if the children are hidden and you've done that, Malaya, because maybe somehow you just fucked up and made this big ass thing out of nothing, you know what? Bring your ass, be accountable for it, but not let it come about to 2 months. And if you had nothing to do with it whatsoever, or Daniel either, you know, again, these children, they're just innocent. Who would ever want to harm a hair on children is beyond me. I don't believe they're in the woods. I don't believe that some person was like, oh, I'm just going to drive by, you know, the little homestead over here. And oops, I'm the only vehicle because nobody else saw Jack and Lily taunting off to school, right? Not going to happen. Any footprints stopped at the end of the driveway regardless, right? Whether or not, however you want to visualize that as a boot print. I think what Darren was saying yesterday from Janie fixing some sort of pothole or something like that. And that if they were at the end of the driveway and put into a vehicle and there happened to be a footprint there and stuff like that. But these kids did not, some guy just didn't drive by at the exact right timing that only one vehicle would have saw these kids and went, whoop, you know, come on, here's some candy, get in here right now. Not going to happen. Sorry. Not in my lifetime, I'm sure. Maybe 0.0001% of that to me happened. It's possible, but that's how low it is on my scale. This to me is family involvement. In my humble opinion, that might matter nothing to somebody else, but it's just my educated guess that this to me is absolutely family involvement. That is why these children have pooped, went on a magic carpet ride somewhere, somehow just vanished. I don't believe they're underneath a mushroom cap in the woods. I don't believe they're hiding underneath an oak tree out there. I don't believe so at all. I don't know what that one searcher was talking about, but I'm sure she's a great lady and she does this stuff. But maybe if they are in the woods, they're buried 6 feet under or something like that. If those children are in the woods, I don't see them being hidden. 2 children just, you know, do. Let's just keep going. You know, let's just obey everything. Let's just toddle off. And drones, nothing can find them. No sign of a backpack. No sign of nothing. But anyways, thank you guys. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now, again, I'm going to play a couple things. I think I'm going to start off with Belynda's interview. Okay. This is who will be joining tomorrow. And I want you guys, if you could, to hit that like and share and do it. Why? Because this grandmother, she wants to see her grandbabies again. Same with the other grandmas, I'm sure. Unless, like I said, unless there's no involvement. Oh, let me just give that shout out for this. Sorry, my bad. Hi, Ashlyn. Thank you so much for the $2.79 super sticker. Thank you. We're kind of lighting up here. We got red and green like Christmas. We got blue. And then we got like yellow going on here. So thank you guys so much again. Ken, before I play the video, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, just that I might pop off and just stay in the chat here before too long. So
yeah, whenever you need to go,
I might fall asleep again.
I know you guys are at a whole different. I'm 7:30. I know you're 4 hours difference. I have to work at 6 a.m. in the morning. I desert you. Just know that. Thank you for becoming a member, Carpenter. We like our Rickroll here, okay? Actually, I'm going to do a members live only, actually. There's been enough members coming through and stuff like that, but I'm going to do a members live only this weekend, okay? So just know that. I haven't done one in over a year, at least, a members live, but I'm going to do one for this. I think it's time for me, to be honest. We're not going to take you to Alcatraz like we've taken you before, nothing like that. This isn't going to be one of those, well, a little bit fun in a sense. When I say fun, it just means it's different, right? When you do a members versus, this type of way. So thank you for becoming a member. Now you don't have to deal with the slow mode, and you can use the emojis for Jack and Lily. And Ken, again, just disappear when you need to, okay? Or hop into chat whenever you need to.
Yeah.
So again, beautiful Belynda, who's going to be gracious enough to join us here tomorrow with Bev, like I said, the child protection lawyer out of the UK there. But I think it's still important just to always listen to what she says, and her heart is just breaking.
They're gone. My heart tells me that. I am the grandmother of Lily and Jack. I am the grandmother on the biological father's side. My son is Cody Sullivan. He's not in jail. He's never been out west. He does not have a criminal record. And right now he's living with me. He has been for 9 months.
How did you find out that Lily and Jack were missing?
The mom of my grandson called me. We were in town. She asked if I heard the news. She sent me the article that was on Facebook showing the kids missing. I couldn't call Malay yet, so I waited till we got home. And I called, well, I didn't call her, I texted her. And she told me that, yes, that the kids were missing, that they've been missing since this morning. I was in a state of panic, shock. But in the back of my mind, I kept saying, well, they'll find them. I mean, I'm assuming that they'd find them. So I told her, well, we'll head out first thing in the morning and help with the search. It was around between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. A couple of cop cars pull into the driveway. The lights wake me up. I'm a fairly light sleeper, so I see the cars pull in. So I knew what it was. So they come inside. They only stood in the kitchen. They wanted me to wake Cody up, and they wanted to know when was the last time he had seen the kids, and that they were just making sure that the kids weren't here. And then they left. So we showed up Saturday morning, me and my sister, and we met up with my daughter, and we started, well, I asked Malaya, I said, Malaya, I said, you know your kids. Nobody knows their kids like their mom. Where do your kids normally go to play out in the yard? What direction do they usually like to explore? And she said, well, they always play up in the little woods right on the side. I said, well, okay. I said, we'll start from that point and we'll work our way out. We had spoken to a search and rescue, and we weren't allowed on the other side because that's where they were searching at the time. So we just started combing through the woods up through there. We were gone for a couple of hours. I'm yelling for Lily and Jack. We always call Jack Jackie boy. And yeah, that went on for a few hours, but those woods, I started to feel that I can't see them being in the woods. There's trees everywhere. You literally have to climb over trees, climb under bushes. It is really, really thick. We come back out, and I went in to see Malay again. I assumed she was in shock. She was very, very non-emotional, very just flat, monotone. But Malay is very soft-spoken anyway. That she's not usually excitable. I thought that's made her a really great mom. She was an excellent mom. She never raised her kid or voice at the kids. That it was always, now Lily, what did mommy say? And I used to think, now.
There. I'm going to stop that there for a second. So think about okay, and we've said this to you before when Belynda told us this, that she thought for Malaya to be the mother was like her gift. So I want you to think about that when you're thinking about if a mother didn't even raise her voice to the children, would by chance she protect them, right? So in a sense, like my son, I would do anything for my child. Okay. Meaning if there was anything that I could do and I knew that my son was perhaps in harm's way, would I do anything I could for my son? Damn straight I would. It's my child. It's my son. So think about what she's saying here, though. Just in perspective. Right, Ken? When you think about them?
Exactly.
Yeah. She's saying how much she just loves her kids, doesn't even raise her voice and stuff like that. So would a child protect their children at any cost? Absolutely. I would. I would at any cost.
If anybody's meant to be a mom, it was her. A part of me still feels that.
Why only a part of you still feels that? What do you mean?
After seeing the place, seeing the condition of the home, it was like the total opposite of what I knew of Malaya. She was always clean, very clean about herself, about the kids, about her home. This home looked more like a camp. Now, I don't know if it's from all the people that were there because I didn't show up till the day after, but it was very unkempt. I was pretty surprised. Lily is, she was my little dream girl, that the first granddaughter. And I loved that she had the brown hair and she had a space between her teeth, which I had when I was a kid. So yeah, she was our little princess. Jack was such a sober, serious little baby that he didn't like to smile. You could tickle him and he would look at you ever so serious, like he was really studying you.
And so how long were your son and Malaya together?
3.5 years, I think it was, yeah. I thought they were the picture perfect family. Then Malaya.
Just as we're going along, I want to comment to that. Daphne, I disagree with your comment, to be honest with you there. And the reason why is because they felt that if the children were in the woods, they wouldn't be alive if they were in the woods. So that's different from saying that they don't believe they're alive. It's if they were in the woods, that the children probably would not be alive if they were in the woods. So the way you worded that, I disagree with that, because that's not what they said. They didn't say that they believe the children were dead. They just believe that the children, if they were in the woods. Anyone agree? Do you agree, Kent?
Yeah, I was just replying to that comment, saying the same thing, that you got to really watch the RCMP, how they say things. And at the end of that 7-day search, they said, when they were asked about the kids being alive, they said the likelihood is, if they were still in the woods, they're likely not to be with us. But ever since then, they tell you that they're investigating all possibilities. So that must mean that one possibility that they believe is that they could be still alive. And I think we all believe that that would be the best scenario. Now, how do we get from the going to the woods and being in the woods to still being alive and coming home? That's what everybody's trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, could they be in a water somewhere? Absolutely.
Yep.
They could be. Could they be in the woods somewhere?
But I think if they were, if myself, and this is totally speculation, because we're coming into 8 weeks now, so if these children were just in the water, the gases in their body would release by now, and I believe they would be able to be spotted.
Yeah.
I believe that if they are in the water, they're in something else, or something is holding them under. And everybody says, oh, well, they searched the waterways with the underwater dive teams. Yeah, they definitely have. And that's why I say that they're in something else. Because those dive teams on those first few weeks, the week or so of the first search, they would have been underwater diving looking for body remains. They wouldn't necessarily be looking for a box or anything else. They're looking for human remains. So who knows what's under the water surface? There might be 1,000 boxes down there. And unless there was a way to determine that, oh, this one looks very new, how come this one's so clean and everything is covered by mud and soot on the bottom of the lake? Otherwise, well, then a box or anything else isn't going to draw their attention because they don't see the body remains. So that's how I would explain that the search teams searched the water and didn't find nothing, because they would have been searching for some type of human remains, and that's not what they seen under the water.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to hit play again. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah. Good night, guys. I'm just going to join the chat. I'm going to fall asleep here. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Ken.
Night.
Night. Okay. We'll continue to play Belynda's interview that she did.
They have started to tell me that they were having problems and she wasn't happy. She told me that she wasn't happy and she thinks she's going to leave. And I told her that we supported whatever she decides, that one good parent is way better than two broken ones.
And then how did that change your relationship with Lily and Jack?
I thought it was going to change, but it didn't. Yeah, it didn't change. Malaya, she was a sweetheart. Anytime we wanted to see the kids, she'd come by for a visit. She'd bring them by all the time. It was actually really, really good.
So when was the last time you saw the children?
A year and a half, almost. Really, it's about a year and 9 months.
How did you deal with that?
Really, to be honest, maybe I didn't deal good enough with it. I looked at the fact that when her and my son separated, my son walked away. He chose to walk away, that she wanted sole custody of the kids. So she petitioned the courts for sole custody. And when she did that, he said he was done.
Were you ever formally questioned?
Yes.
So then it's about a month after Lily and Jack are last seen that they come and formally question you.
So it's about 3 weeks. They questioned Cody for an hour and a half in the vehicle, and then they questioned me for 2 hours in the vehicle.
How did that feel to you?
I didn't mind. I mean, to me, I expected I'm the grandmother, so it wasn't a surprise to me. I'm assuming the sooner they do all that, I wish they would have done it sooner, that the sooner they can move on. So I didn't have a problem. My son was a little upset about it. He said they made him feel like he did something wrong, and he said he hadn't seen the kids in 3 years. So he was a little upset about it. That he said that they really come at him hard. They wanted to know what her favorite color was, and he said they were babies when I seen them last. He said she was just learning what she wanted to figure out to eat. I don't know what her color is. So yeah, he was pretty upset.
Have they ever talked to him again since then?
A couple of days ago, they had contact, and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything was fine.
And have they ever given you any information?
No, it's always the same thing.
Which is what?
They've got everybody on it. They are looking at all avenues. They can't divulge any information that could compromise their investigation. It's the exact same words.
Why are you so sure they're not in the woods?
I have children. I have grandchildren. And I see what kids are like through the woods. There's no reason for any child to wander deep into the woods. There's just not. I think somebody hurt these kids. I think somebody hurt them.
You don't sound very hopeful.
No. Our last day searching on Monday and seeing the woods and seeing the searchers and everybody everywhere. There's no way those kids are in the woods. There is nothing more pure and innocent than a 6 and a 4-year-old. And they deserve so much better than what they got.
Okay, so sorry guys, that one ended there.
Little baby.
Little Jack, little Jack. Um,
That
what Belynda did say, and she might say this tomorrow as well, but she did say, she goes, Malaya is not like a manipulator. She's not a conniving type of person. She did say that when we were in our talks today and stuff like that. Again, if you guys haven't hit that like button, please do it for the sake of Jack and Lily. And please also do it for Belynda and all the family members that literally just want answers to what happened to Jack and Lily. Um, again, thanks everyone for being here so far, but just would appreciate that. Again, for anyone coming in or whatever that hasn't heard this yet, Belynda will be on the live tomorrow. She will be talking, and she's going to give us, like I said, she's going to talk about her son Cody. She's going to straighten that out because she would, like to do that. Bev, who is, of course, a child protection lawyer out of the UK, who was on our live the one day, helping us understand a little bit more. She's looking forward to this live tomorrow as well. And it'll be her time 10:30. It will be 6:30 in Halifax, or in the, I should say, Nova Scotia. And it will be 2:30 here. So I work till 2 o'clock. So basically, after I'm done, then I'm pretty much going to be prepared to do that live at 2:30 my time. So I'm looking forward to that. And then she's also going to tell us, because she was there on the 3rd. So she was talking, to Daniel and some of those people there as well. And so we're going to listen to her tell us exactly what her perception was, what was said that day. Again, if you got nothing to hide, then telling the truth is easy, right? That's the bottom line of it, regardless. And, obviously, the way things look from Malaya's side isn't shit hot, to be honest with you. That doesn't mean that she's guilty of anything. When I say that, obviously there's negligence going on, but bottom line is nobody's been charged. Daniel hasn't, Malaya hasn't. Nobody's been charged. We don't know what exactly happened to these two beautiful children. 1 second here. Add to stage. It's Jack and Lily, right? Like she said, she doesn't believe, after being there and going through the woods herself, having children and their grandbabies, she doesn't believe there's no way. She believes that there's harm that has come to these babies when she said that in the interview. But I know, like you guys, and like Daphne said it in one of her messages a minute ago, everyone is just wishing that the ultimate best case scenario is that Malaya is trying to protect her other children, and that they are hidden somewhere, for whatever reasons. Maybe it just got out of control. Who knows exactly? But that would be the most amazing scenario if that line of thinking, and that could come true. And it's plausible. It's plausible. So okay. So now, why doesn't the grandmother think they were abducted? I guess, like anybody, their intuition. When I listen to Belynda talk, it's kind of like when we were talking today. It's almost like somebody picking my own brain, right? She's wise. She's wise that way, and understands what's the likelihood. What is the likelihood of where they lived, one vehicle going by Jack and Lily, and somehow luring them. That one vehicle that would have went by, because obviously if there was multiple vehicles, they would have seen Jack and Lily out on the road, walking down it, trying to go to school. Not happening. It's just not happening. So the likelihood is very nominal. It's plausible, but it's nominal. Just like the children being in the woods is more plausible than the stranger abduction. But did they find anything? An ounce, an iota of anything? Remember, it's kind of like Sebastian Rogers' case, right? Is that Malaya and Daniel, obviously, their stories are not consistent with each other's. And that's usually what happens when either one person's lying or two people are lying and stuff like that. Well, to me, they've both lied regardless about this. Whatever part of involvement, they both lied regardless, because they told the story each on camera type of idea. Malaya, we've only had the one, but she said enough to definitely make you go, what the heck? What the heck interview was that even about? It was just absurd. It came off in such an awkward, weird way that anyone listening to that interview, unless you do live underneath a mushroom cup, there's not probably one person that actually thought that interview was, well, maybe there's one that thought it was a genuine interview. It seemed very scripted. And and it was weird. It was just weird. Maybe she's lying for a reason. Again, maybe she got in over her head with this lie of perhaps taking the children and putting them into the vehicle. Why did she leave the next day? And Daniel said that she couldn't even look at him. Why? The family, Daniel says out of his own mouth that her family is blaming him, and that's why I want to take a polygraph test. Why are they blaming Daniel? What is it that supposedly, hypothetically, that Daniel did, right, to Malaya? Is there abuse? Darren talked about abuse on Jack. Again, it's third-party information. Take it with whatever makes sense to you. Regardless, again, it's third-party information regardless, okay? So if Daniel was actually up here saying, look, mine and Malaya's relationship was pretty rocky. I did things to her. She did things to me. Correct. It's not right. But, nobody's life is perfect. We know that, right? Sometimes people are poisoned together. You think that, you're a great couple, but really you're toxic to each other. In Malaya's statements to Belynda, in those messages, it was pretty clear that she never wanted to be there. She said that Daniel was basically controlling and wouldn't let him give out the address and stuff like that. Again, those are her words. Daniel's words doesn't matter. He said what he said. They're pretty clear that he did pretty much everything for Jack and Lily. And out of love for Malaya, when somebody truly just is smitten, regardless, you could be in one of those relationships where no matter what, you're just going to kiss your wife's ass, come hell or high water, and not that they're married, but just meaning those relationships exist. Of course, we know that. And controlling relationships exist. Absolutely. No one's going to love to put their shit out to the wind and say, I was smacking Malaya around. I'm a good boy. Smacking my girlfriend around. Nobody's going to really tell you that, okay? Unless you're behind bars probably at some point, and then you're like, you know what? Yeah, there was some stuff going on in the relationship, probably stuff I'm not proud of, blah, blah, blah. No one's really going to be all like, yeah, I was, smacked her around a bit. Not going to happen, right? No one's going to, their ego is not going to allow them to usually say stuff like that. Hi, Ben Martin. Okay. Hi, the real me. How are you? Okay, I know that there's probably a bunch of chat going on. And again, oh my God, Cody has been cleared. Okay. Yeah, right? So again, the focus, I know some people thought that. Again, Belynda will talk about her son tomorrow. Okay, at the end of the day, ask yourself this. Some people are trash Cody, don't like, she said he walked away, right? Some people are like going, what a piece of shit, dude, blah, 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 blah. Let me ask you this, though. You have children. Your son decides that he doesn't want to be part of the children's life. Do you actually think you're going to stop loving your child or caring about him, even if he makes bad choices and maybe she doesn't approve of some of those choices? But when you have children, do you honestly think that you would banish your child? Or like Chris Watt's parents, they know what he did, of course, in a sense, or what they didn't do. Bottom line is, he admitted to portions, of course, of it. Are they going to stop loving their son? Some parents might. Some. Okay. I had a friend. She married a black man, and her dad disowned her. Crazy, right? Crazy to think that that type of stuff exists. Does happen. But at the end of the day, if you had a child and you weren't proud of what your son did or what your daughter did, you're going to disown them? Nah. Because you know why? A parent's love is unconditional. 99.999% of the time. You can say you would, but again, you're not in those shoes, Hello, Ben. Okay, so now we're gonna watch, and it just so happened to play as I was watching somebody else, and somebody asked me earlier why I haven't played that extended version of the Mounties. Well, by the time I got home from work, pretty much everyone underneath the sun had already played it, and I was gonna play it on that particular live, just didn't happen. And at this point, yeah, I can play it again, but I'm not gonna right now, at least, because everyone's already seen that interview that you guys are talking about where she's asking him some hard ass questions, so don't really overly feel the need to. And I didn't. I know I said I was told Belynda, I was like, I'm just going to be like an hour, I swear. Yeah, well, definitely we're going to go no longer than 2 hours. So that's another 23 minutes. Okay. And those babies were hidden. The lawyer would know, and he would clear it up with the RCMP. Not if the lawyer knew. If the lawyer knew, I don't think there's no ethical person out there that you would think would, not come out and say to it. But again, maybe the lawyer absolutely believes in Malaya and has no clue whatsoever. Anyway, truth will be told for Jack and Lily, and prayers that they are hidden. Again, it seems odd. Obviously, it seems strange because there's so many options that Malaya had to pull herself out of this, right? There's so many things and here we sit almost 2 months later. But anyway, I'm going to play an interview with Daniel in it that was playing. And this is where we're going to obviously see lies happen. That's just clear and abundant. Okay. So, I can play Malaya's interview all day long and sit there and frickin' red flag almost everything out of her mouth, whether she's lying for the purpose of the children or the purpose of something else. Who knows? Either way, her interview stunk. Okay, so I'm just going to play this one. Oh, well, you know what? Let's just play it from the start.
Radio chatter. Search crews and first responders mobilizing in a quest no one dreamed would take this long.
Make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
A home deep in rural Nova Scotia, 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax, the last known location.
A lot of area to cover. We're out in sticks here.
Not one, but two missing children. A dog that barks at everything, a mother who left on the second day, a father who hasn't seen the kids in 3 years, and a stepfather trying to piece things together.
It's been a long 6 weeks. I know that everybody basically in the world at this point is always wanting to know what happened.
The mystery of what happened to 6-year-old Lily Mae Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother, Jack William James Sullivan, is indeed gripping the country and beyond. It is Friday, May 2nd. Martell and his partner, Malaya Brooks Murray, the children's mother, are having a lazy morning with their baby. Lily and Jack are in the kitchen alone.
Malaya and the baby were asleep. Lily came in multiple times. I was not in deep sleep by any means. And then about 20 minutes passed. And then when I woke up, Malaya was right beside me. She was still asleep. And I said, I don't hear Lily and Jack.
The time, no one will say for sure.
I was not in deep sleep by any means. I was not.
Lily and Jack are in the kitchen alone.
Malaya and the baby were asleep. Lily came in multiple times. I was not in deep sleep by any means. And then about 20 minutes passed. And then when I woke up, Malaya was right beside me. She was still asleep. And I said, I don't hear Lily and Jack.
The time, no one will say for sure, but police say it was around 10 a.m. when they got a 911.
Sorry, you guys, I accidentally hit a wrong button there. So we have Malaya's interview, I tell Daniel, do you hear the kids? Daniel says, I tell Malaya I don't hear the kids. Right? So who's lying? Who's lying? Both of them. One of them? Both of them? Both of them, regardless. He wasn't in a deep sleep, so he didn't hear the kids getting shuffled out to a vehicle or anything like that at some point. I don't know. He wasn't in a deep sleep, you know. They were, Malaya, according to Malaya, she was in and out of consciousness, you know. Daniel's obviously not in a deep sleep, so how did you not hear? Malaya came in and out of the room. 8 o'clock came from somewhere, people, and it came from Daniel or Malaya, or both. Okay, 8 o'clock on the scanner came from somewhere. Now, Malaya says, we heard them in the room, the next room type of thing. Or that, sorry, she heard them in the bedroom. Okay. Daniel here is like, well, Lily came in about 3 times. And I could hear Jack playing in the kitchen. So where does this 8 o'clock come from out of all of this? Now, Daniel says, like I said in the text, he said to Charmaine that Malaya's time of 10 o'clock is false. Let's just leave it at that. So we already know that Malaya told, of course, Belynda that 9:40 the children disappeared. So this whole 20 minutes of time. So we got someone here again, okay? We got someone here basically saying, look, you know what? You got 2 people actually going, look, you guys know that sliding glass door that doesn't make a sound, right? Everyone looking at that door, sorry, truth, absolutely says there's no way. My husband works on those type of doors. He's like, there's no way, right? But so unless they WD-40 that freaking door, you know, other than that, they both made mention of that silent door, that somehow, you know, Malaya's portraying that the children are always watched, right? Underneath their supervision. And somehow this day, these children that are always supervised, which she contradicts herself in her own statements by saying, well, normally they don't go to the road. Normally they don't go out in the woods by themselves. Normally, that's because we know that the truth is those children were outside playing without being properly, or what you want to say, properly supervised. That Malaya and Daniel are in the home. Kids are outside playing. Why not? Right? You got a big ass yard. You got grandma over there, Janie, in the camper. You know, to think that those children wouldn't be playing outside would be unrealistic. My kid will be playing outside. I'd be looking through the window. If I'm hearing their voice, I'd be like, okay, everything's good. You know, usually like what I would always do with my son, if he was up playing in his room, I'd be like, Matthew. And he'd be like, yes, mom. And I'd say, love you. It was my way of just checking on him. Make sure, hey, you know what? You're upstairs playing, making sure you're still good. You're still good to go. You're still alive, you know, type of thing. That's what I would do. Why? Because I'm an overprotective parent. But it was just the way I am. So, but to think that on that big yard, regardless, that these children aren't kind of playing out in that backyard, at least. Maybe not so much the front, but maybe so. And they were told not to go to the road, perhaps, you know, because they did say that they, like, I mean, according to them, that Jack and Lily would not cross the road type of thing. But I can picture them out back playing on the slide, you know, talking to me, perhaps to grandma at times or whatever. But I can totally see that. But anyways, so it's one of those things. It's like there's information missing, and we know it's missing because we ain't dumbass, but we know that there's information, and neither of them, well, I mean, Lily is obviously not talking her shit, but Daniel, and I mean, maybe he did it intentionally, but at no point did he ever say, okay, about, you know, his mom having seen the children by chance from Thursday into Friday. Maybe that was just information they perhaps didn't want to put out there. But again, it's like, well, if you're trying to put out a story and say it to the public, you know, you don't want to look like if you're telling the truth, You want to keep it consistent. You might want to not say everything, but you're literally leaving out important information, and you're wanting us to believe other information. And that's just not going to happen in the true crime world. Not going to happen. Now, in saying that, Daniel, okay, so he tells Belynda that dog didn't bark, right? She specifically asked him when she was there, and he said, no, dog didn't bark. So how did it transition to now that Janie's dog barked and, woke her up basically? And then when she did come outside, she was trying to tie up the dog and didn't see Malaya put the kids into the vehicle. But how did that go from Daniel saying that he didn't hear the dog bark to Belynda, right? That the dog didn't bark. So there's another mistruth. So just like that whole thing there, again, we already discussed this about, wait a second, you said that Malaya, she's going, oh, my gut. My gut says that I need to call the police. I just felt it in my gut. Daniel said, and then, Daniel says, well, no, Malaya asked me if I should call the police. And I was basically like, fuck yeah. Your kids are the kids are gone. Fuck yeah. Right. Now, according to the story that's kind of being said now is that, saying that Daniel lied about certain things to protect Malaya could be true. Could absolutely be true. I mean, to me, in all fairness, Daniel, you're a freaking ass idiot if you're trying to protect someone that literally has said to the public there in those messages, Daniel, you're not doing enough. If you could just do more. Well, I stay over here, unless this was a plan, which it seems to be a large plan if it was the case. But how does someone tell you to look for her kids? That you're not doing enough for her kids? She's not beating the pavement. She ain't checking the bushes. Nah, she bailed on your ass the next day. So who the hell are you protecting? Is it about Lily and Jack, or is it about trying to stay as nice as you can to Malaya? Because in your world, perhaps, you still love her. Seriously, if everyone can see what we see looking at that, honestly, get over that and get over it quick. If it's about Lily and Jack, and you want to tell the truth, tell the truth. Don't protect Malaya, right? Do you think she would protect you, really? Honestly? If it came down to it, do you think she'd be doing the same thing if that's the case? Nope. Now, so Daniel says that Malaya, he was screaming. He was running around the home screaming for the kids. Yeah? And that's when Janie pops out, he says. That's when my mom came out. And my mom said, my mom was napping, right? But that's when she came out and said that Malaya looked like, she was a deer in headlights, basically, like got her hand caught in the cookie jar for doing something, So unless it's just being told really bad, possibly true. But Daniel did say, as well, that she was playing on her phone, whether that's the information as he's running through the woods. And that was information said by his mom, or if he actually saw Malaya just playing on her phone. But then he made the comment that, well, that's all she does all day is play on her phone, right? Any sort of resentment or anger issues going on in that relationship? Probably a little bit, for sure. Depends on who's really carrying the weight in that relationship. Depends if there's abuse going on. Depends if there's controlling going on and all that stuff. But bottom line is that then you said you went up into the woods, Daniel, for 30 seconds. And then when you came back, that Malaya was on the phone. So how can both be true? They can't, right? They can't be true. But now the thing is, and again, let's just be real here, people, is Daniel is giving, okay, I'm being fair towards Malaya and Daniel on this one, meaning I'm just cutting to the chase, cutting to the shit, because I'm just saying, Daniel is doing interviews to the news. Daniel is not coming up on any YouTube platform at all. Okay? He's not. He's texting people. Not just us, he was texting others as well. That we got total proof of as well, right? So He's talking to other people behind the scenes, but he's not coming up on YouTube. Now, again, I just want to think of this logically, because for people that are for Daniel, against Daniel, whatever, right? Just trying to be balanced here. Is it because the news is easier to manipulate by those things? And YouTubers, true crime? They're not going to be easy on you at all in true crime, right? And so is it easier to hide behind this instead of coming up? Possibly, correct? Okay. So recently, he's never come up on anyone's thing, right? And I didn't expect him to. Even when Darren asked him, I said, Darren, he's not going to, right? Because he gave him the answer, possibly, right? But at the end of the day, is that when you just look at it logically a little bit. It doesn't mean it's true. It just means look at it in fairness, right? Just like we ask, in a sense, look at it in fairness for Malaya as well, that she could absolutely be protecting her kids. And maybe what we're seeing isn't representing what's actually happening, although it looks bad. But again, go back to Delphi. The father of Libby never said a word, never came out. Let the police, let them do everything, right? Waiting for the justice to happen, because he knew he would be attacked. But bottom line is, Daniel said that when he was coming out of the woods, right, according to Darren. So to me, and no offense, Darren, obviously, okay, and is Daniel, even if Darren feels like Daniel's being sincere and that this is the truth, and he might well absolutely believe that, or he could be being used as the puppet to put out the information. Darren doesn't think he's a dumbass by no means, right? He thinks he's wise, of course, right? That he's putting 2 and 2 together, and he's saying, hey, I don't give a shit if it's Daniel or Malaya, whoever did something to these beautiful children. I want them to pay for it. I want to find answers, But he says, he looked into things. He checked out Daniel, some of his stuff that he's been saying. And he feels like in a lot of ways that Daniel's being honest. I mean, he was so honest yesterday, Darren. He's like, sorry, Daniel. Well, hold on. There was a few things. Don't get me wrong. There was a few things that he could have said, but he chose not to. Or he said them in a different way. But regardless, it's okay. But at the end of the day, he said, like, sorry, Daniel, but truth is the truth. There was an issue with him and Jack's relationship and stuff like that, and whatever. Okay. We don't know. Again, it's just third-hand information. It's not Daniel saying it, because if Daniel says it, he has to be accountable for everything he says. Right. So if he's lying and putting out information like that, regardless, his ass is tied to his own mouth saying that. Will that be used in a court of law? Absolutely. Absolutely. But if other people are saying it for you, then obviously, in a sense, he's not accountable, because it's coming out of Darren's mouth and not Daniel's mouth. So that's just food for thought. Okay? Bottom line. Still, bottom line is, we know that the truth isn't being told. Simple as that. It's not being told. So when you came out of the woods and you say that you're trying to cover up for Malaya, she was already on the phone. How could she be on the phone if she asked you if she should call the RCMP? Right? So it's all these things. So when you wonder why people want answers, you don't have to give them. You can totally look like a liar to your little heart's content for either of them. You don't have to give the public answers, but don't expect the public to back you up, for the most part, if your stories are inconsistent. And at the end of the day, if somebody's a full-on narcissistic liar, pathological liar, and they are so full of themselves and they believe their own shit, they're going to pass the polygraph test probably, right? All the answers Daniel said, were geared at, did you have anything to do with the death of Lily and Jack, right? Did you basically anything to do with murdering and the children not being alive type of thing, So obviously it's not missing children, right? Right? Like Charmaine said, it's not like we're talking about missing children here then. They're asking hardball questions, because obviously, if they felt like it was an abduction, like they said, there was nothing to show that. So Malaya can portray an abduction, Daniel can portray an abduction, but you're not going to sell that shit to people that have been doing this for multiple years. But something's happened here. Somebody's lying. Jack and Lily, something happened to them, right? Well, Daniel and Mom disagree on timeline. Right. Well, I don't know Janie. I don't know Daniel. Besides the chatter that's in the text messages and besides the interviews and stuff like that, right? Daniel, according to Darren, Janie's just a stand-up person. The way he portrays her is kind of like, somewhat like myself, is like type of thing. You're hard and you're firm. And it's just kind of like you're not, like it's not like someone can talk me into something that I don't want to do. I say what I say. I mean what I say. I tell it like it is. So if she's a stand-up type of person and Darren says, you know what, Janie's not the person to sit there and lie, right? Now I get it that Daniel's her son, right? But in some cases, mothers will lie for their kids no matter what. And in other cases, mothers are like, get your fucking ass down there and you start telling the truth, right? So, but according to Darren, Janie's just a really good, like a hard ass, basically, right? That wouldn't talk to her, basically, get off the property. And he's like, I'm talking to Daniel. And then obviously Darren said yesterday that Janie allowed him to say, like, you know what, YOLO, here, you can put out that information. But anyway, we'll watch the rest of it. Okay. Got to get on the right one.
Call.
I ran up in the woods to the kids. They have cabins up in the woods, which only took me like 30 seconds. I came right back down. She was on the phone with the RCMP.
There we go. There you go. Didn't know that was coming extra. I would have played that out for you, Daniel. Okay. But I have the text message where we have the text messages from Charmaine and Daniel's conversation. That's opposite of that. Right? So that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Right? And again, if RCMP aren't dumbasses, you don't think they're sitting there like comparing this shit? But it depends on what he's lying about. Is he lying for the sake of Malaya? Or is he lying because he had something to do with the children's disappearance? So one of those things is probably true. And I mean, to be honest with you, it looks like Daniel needs a bib for all the drooling over Malaya, to be honest, because he could be that guy that, you know what, like, I'll do anything for her. She can kick me to the curb and she can do this, but I love you, Malaya. I'll be there for you and the kids, and I'm going to keep searching for them while your ass does nothing over at your side of the corner. But I'm going to do it. Even if Malaya says, you know what, Daniel needs to focus on not what people think about him, but I focus on my children and looking for them. Sorry, but that sentence, that whole thing, Malaya, on that one. All right.
For 6 days, crews tackled an exhaustive search. The children's mother took the baby to be with her family in another part of the province. Her mother told CBC News the RCMP told them not to speak with news reporters. The RCMP says it just advised everyone to be mindful of the information they share publicly. On May 7th, police scaled back the search.
The probability of survival was taken into consideration.
Into this part, well, let's clear that up. Are you talking about recently? Because obviously Cody Lee Sullivan is not the person that committed, took a whatever it was, knife or whatever it was to somebody on Marketplace. Okay. So she already said Belynda's not a liar. Okay. She's not a liar. She already told you Cody Sullivan, not Cody Lee Sullivan, Cody Sullivan doesn't have any charges against him. Okay. So I don't know if that's somebody. The thing is, not everyone watches this channel, right? So if that was said before, because a lot of people, like, I don't know who's the first one to put out that information, but regardless, it was false information. And again, tomorrow, Belynda will be on here talking about her son, right? She might not be happy with, some of his choices, but She wants to talk about her son and clear that part up. We're going to do that at the beginning of the live. And then we're going to move on from there. And hopefully people realize that they've already looked into Cody. And, okay, yeah, you want to say he's cleared? He's cleared. There's nothing. There's nothing, right? Doesn't make sense anyway. Like people start coming out with this crazy shit. Oh, he's probably holding him for ransom because he probably needs to buy the drugs and stuff like that. Come on now. Anyways.
But search crews returned for two more weekends until the end of May, searching wells, mine shafts, and septic systems, even flying a drone beneath the home.
The 4-year-old is wearing some blue dinosaur boots.
Police say they found a boot print. And listen to this in the radio chatter.
Families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket.
Police won't say anything about a blanket, but Martell says a piece of Lily's blanket was found near the boot print. He says both children may have undiagnosed autism.
For a lot of people, this story just sounds odd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. And I see it every day online.
He's keenly aware the public suspects him, says the police did too at the start.
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
So he offered to take a polygraph test.
I was extremely nervous. Especially with the first question they asked you, did you kill Lily and Jack?
That was the first question they asked you?
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job, you passed.
Hi, Kayla. How you doing?
The RCMP.
Hi. Okay, that big ass smug smirk bothers me. Kind of like, actually, you know what else bugs me on that one? Is when he said, of course, stepfathers are always the first to be looked at. It does bug me because why? The average person is not going to say that. Only people that watch true crime or watch those type of shows will say something like that, right? No average Joe is going to go, you know what? Stepfather is always the one, Right. And saying that, it's kind of one of those things too, but usually someone that's been watching CSI and 48 Hours, something like that, anyone knows that they always stick close to home, especially if you're in true crime. But that big smug smirk bugs me because it's almost like, sorry, and maybe he's proud of the fact that he passed, and is kind of like internally going, F you, bitches, I passed, so stop bugging me. Could be. It could be. Or it could be because, he's a narcissist and just is patting himself on the back for the great job he's done. Looking at all angles, people, doesn't mean that they're true. It's just food for thought, right? Can't just sit there and go, oh, well, this obviously he did this for this reason. That's like the behavioral panel on Sadie's when he was on there, that whatever his name was again. Sorry, guy, forget your name. But anyways, and then he said, did you notice he said the word dive? He goes, and he said something about water. Okay, most of the psychics out there keep saying water. I get it, right? Could absolutely be. The children could absolutely be in water somewhere. Possible, absolutely. If foul play is involved, absolutely. But so he said the word dive, and the behavioral panelist guy was like, what a weird word to use. Gonna dive right into it. So he said, check the water, right? And like I said, I'm just trying to be definitely like balanced in my thinking here. And yet I still don't know the answer. I don't know if Daniel did something, if Malaya did something, because there's so many lies going on. You don't even know which end of your, like, why does it take this long? Why does someone like Darren have to come along to try to put out the truth? Why aren't they doing it them damn ass selves? Like, we're literally freaking June 25th, people. Another week, and that's 2 months. So if Malaya does happen, why wasn't this fixed a long time ago? Why has not nobody spoken? The more people you involve in a scenario, the less likely it is. Okay? The more people you want to put into a crime of something, the less likely it is, because someone's going to spill the beans. Right? Please, somebody spill the beans. Have some mercy on Jack and Lily. Do what's right in this world. If you know something about Jack and Lily's case and you're not saying shit, again, you'll find a special place in hell if you know something and are literally trying to either hide, cover it up, try to keep a promise to somebody and all that stuff. But why? Why are we at almost a 2-month mark and nobody's come forward to say, you know what? Just so you know, I took them off in a canoe over to that Canary Island over there, and they're safe. They're safe. Somebody knows what happened to Jack and Lily. At least one person for sure. They know. Somebody knows. But why is it going on so long? That's why it seems like out of orbit when I say that. Well, I mean, that part really rubs me the wrong way but the thing is that we could literally be reading it for smugness or for the fact of big F you to the people that kept accusing him, right? We don't know. We're not in Daniel's brain. Daniel knows what's in his brain, but we don't know. It's just speculation. Okay, play some more. Oh, what happened? 1 second. Okay.
It's quite rare that in my career, I've never seen 2 missing children go at the same time.
Was anything found in any of these searches that was deemed to be of significance? Even if you can't tell me what it was, anything of significance?
So I can tell you that the investigation is ongoing and that we haven't found any evidence to show that there was an abduction of the children.
So you don't think they were abducted, but you can't find them.
Exactly.
How do 2 young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information.
He says the force has received close to 500 tips, some that have taken them elsewhere in the country. But the only confirmed sighting of Jack and Lily was the day before they disappeared in Nova Scotia. Martell says the children were seen on camera with the whole family. Still, police are asking for trail camera footage in the area dating back 5 days. They say they're trying to establish a timeline in the lead up to the disappearance.
So when teams are tasked, they get a bearing.
Crews have searched around 8.5 square kilometers.
Coming up through all of this stuff.
Amy Hansen has been the search manager for most of that. She's taking us into the woods to show us what her team has been dealing with.
The vast majority of it was probably from Fiona.
Downed trees from post-tropical storm Fiona 3 years ago.
This is actually fairly mild compared to some of the areas.
Over a total of 10 days, they searched for 12,000 hours.
It's pretty much unheard of in this province. It's the biggest search I've been involved in.
And she's been at this 22 years.
Do you think those kids are in the woods?
From everything I've seen, yes.
Why can't you find them?
They're small. They'd be hiding. They would have crawled underneath something probably when they got tired. They could have gone further than what we searched. There's all kinds of scenarios, unfortunately.
And that's playing heavily on the mind of this woman, Lily and Jack's paternal grandmother.
Their smiles are just beautiful.
She hadn't seen the children in nearly 2 years, a relationship left complicated after her son, their biological father, chose to stay out of their lives. She says he has been questioned by police 3 times.
A couple of days ago, they had contact and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything was fine.
She says she joined the search herself as soon as she heard Lily and Jack were missing. She doesn't believe the children are in the woods.
There's no reason for any child to wander deep into the woods. There's just not.
The brush is just too thick.
It is way too thick. Way too thick.
Tonight is about saying a prayer.
She attended a vigil in Pictou County marking 1 month since the children went missing and says she feels the support of the community and beyond.
Well, these are everybody's grandchildren. They're not just mine now.
As she clings to cherished keepsakes,
This is Lily's handprint.
she is pleading for any information that could provide answers.
There is nothing more pure and innocent than a 6 and a 4-year-old.
Amen to that, Belynda. There's nothing more precious than children. There just isn't. There's no excuse for what's going on right now. Absolutely zero. Honestly, again, if you're trying to get out of a situation, hypothetically, right? If you're trying to get out of a situation, then obviously you would have given up, you would think, right? Like, no, I called the police, but really I was just trying to get out of a bad situation. So if this was, hi Miranda, how are you? But if this has gone from bad to worse. Now, I want to say this, and I'm going to be very, my own opinion on this, okay? If people are shitting on Darren, you know what? Don't be fools, okay? So if Darren's going on this channel and to Dolly, because Darren made it very clear that this channel and Dolly's channel, right? He both appreciates and respects the channels. So if he's going from Daniel to Dolly's channel to this channel and stuff like that, what's he doing? What's he doing wrong? Right? He's doing it because he cares about Jack and Lily. And he's trying to spread awareness. So for those freaking idiots out there, again, be thankful that somebody is fighting for Jack and Lily. Even if you think that Daniel is using him, right? No matter what you think, his whole purpose isn't because he took Jack and Lily. It's to fight for Jack and Lily, so much so. And people are like, well, if you believe he went to the RCMP, I do, absolutely. I believe it. I might not believe it maybe the first time as much, wasn't sure. I was just kind of like, okay, if you did, you did. If not, regardless, I'll call them myself, whatever, right? But then he said it again yesterday, and he talks about it. He basically got told to leave his home, right? He told me this stuff. He said it to you guys, but he told me this in private, He told me more stuff in private, right? Stuff that I'm not going to share because it was private. So the public ain't going to hear some of it, right? Because there's some stuff you don't put out there, and there's other things that you do. Because obviously that just is common sense there as well, right? Nobody deserves any information at all. None of us do. I'm grateful for the information. But when you see someone that's actually trying to fight for Jack and Lily, even if you believe that you feel like Daniel has him wrapped around the pinky, Darren doesn't believe so. Darren's trying to fight for Jack and Lily and answers. He's pissed off, right? Why is this going on so long? So he's trying to be that sleuth out there going, you know what? That's what I said. Darren, maybe just stay quiet. And he's like, no, I'm seeing this through to the end. Because he's convinced, right, that shady shit went on with Malaya and that these children are hidden. And honestly, all of us, that would be the best ass miracle that we could ask for, is that situation. So please, Darren, that whole theory, please be right. Be amazingly right. Why? Because guess what? Because then the people that love Jack and Lily, they'll never be in the hands of Daniel and Malaya. Guarantee you that much. Right? But to a grandmother that just wants answers, and to somebody fighting for Jack and Lily, why would you knock that? This is a family member. And even if he is a, cousin to the grandmother Patty and stuff like that, why would somebody knock that? Doesn't matter. You take the information with whatever you want to take it with. But when you see someone that comes out of the woodwork, and so somebody asked me this on an email and I'll answer it, is that he was talking about this before the reward came out. Would he be entitled to reward? Well, hey, anyone would be that's entitled to it. That leads to whatever happened to Jack and Lily. If that's the information that brought the RCMP to Jack and Lily, why wouldn't he be entitled to it? If you did and you had information, why wouldn't you be entitled to it? You know, they're putting up a reward because obviously they need help. They need help what's going on. They need somebody that knows, that has information, that's not speaking, to basically hear, look, in trade, we're going to give you up to $150,000 if this leads to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible or people responsible for Jack and Lily. Why not that? I don't get that type of mentality or thinking. You know, be grateful for information coming from the family members. I can't stress that enough, because we'd be sitting here with our tails between our legs talking about the same shit day after day. And some creators, right? Some of the real shit ones, they're going to sit there and make up shit and add shit to it just because no shit's being talked about. So they're just going to add shit, make up shit. Right, Lily Sullivan? That's not her son, right? Or they just simply get the facts wrong and it's an error, right? You know what? If you make an error, we correct it. You correct it, like we did on here. Belynda told me in confidence before it was said that, hey, which I never told you guys right away, but she said, that's not my son. They got the wrong Cody Sullivan. His name is not Lily Sullivan. That's somebody else. My son doesn't have an arrest record. Everything that she told me that we never put out there, she said it here. So now we can talk about it because she put it out there and said, hey, look, my son hasn't seen the kids. He's had 3 whatever interviews with the police and whatever. Now they don't even bug him, right? Because they know that he doesn't have anything to do with it. Regardless of your feelings about him, it's still her son. Anyways, the reason why this case is so difficult to understand is because of all the lying going on. So quit telling. I don't want to hear anymore about how truthful you guys all are and shit. You know, you guys are, no matter what, you're both lying. So come out with the truth. Because you know when the truth comes out, again, right? If you put yourself out there to be a truthologist and that you always speak the truth and stuff like that, well, again, no one's going to believe you. No one's going to believe you if it comes to fruition that you keep telling mistruths. So either come out yourself and admit, you know, to the public that, look, you know, the situation happened, you know, I believe that Malaya, you know, through no fault of Malaya's self, that she, that her mom, or the evil, wicked mother-in-law, you know, somehow convinced Malaya to remove the children. But that's not what we heard. What we heard was Janie say that, well, according to Daniel, Janie say that Malaya, she heard the kids. Is that true or is that not true? Well, again, if you believe that Darren is being as honest as he can, and you believe that Janie is this stand-up mother, you know, and she just says, you know what, Darren, I didn't want to talk to you at first, but now that I've gained that, now that we have a mutual trust, yeah, go ahead and put it out there, because it is what it is. That's what it was. That's the truth, you know? So we wouldn't have any of this stuff if they weren't talking. Thank you, Belynda. Thank you for everything you're doing for Jack and Lily. Thank you, Darren. Thank you for everything you're doing for Jack and Lily. And any other family member that's out there that's literally trying to help and aid in the search for Jack and Lily, thank you, family members. Thank you for caring about Jack and Lily. Your family members, not ours, but your family members, you know? So it's a two-way street. Grateful that channels cover it, because we don't have to cover this story whatsoever if we didn't want to, right? This channel, other channels, right? But we are, because again, you get attached to something, grabs at your heart, and you want to cover it. You want to uncover the truth of it, but you are doing it typically to bring awareness to the cases, you know, even if money is a motivator to some as well, which is fine. It's their channel. Do what you want, right? But as long as the awareness is out there, drama causes awareness, sadly. But it's true. Lies, definite freaking AI bullshit and all that. Doesn't matter. For every person that sees a video, regardless, it's still awareness to Jack and Lily. Even if it's a pathetic piece of crap AI video, you know, or a pathetic piece of shit channel that doesn't care what they put out there. Doesn't matter. It's still about Jack and Lily. I'm just going to read a couple more comments and then I'm totally going because I need to make a thumbnail for tomorrow for when Belynda and Bev are on and set up that live for tomorrow. Again, that's going to be at 2:30 Pacific Standard Time, 6:30 Halifax time. That would be 3 hours difference, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And of course, in the UK, that will be at 10:30, which is an 8-hour difference. So again, we're going to have Belynda, we're going to have Charmaine, and we're going to have Bev. And she has, shoot, Bev, I should have been prepared for this. Courtroom Crime Confidential. Shit. I have to look that back up. I meant to do that earlier. I'll be posting her link tomorrow. Actually, let me feel right about that. I need to feel right within myself about that. Shoot. Wait, I think it's crime court. There we go. Okay, Bev. No. That's not it. No. Somebody help me out before I sink. I think it was all one word. That's why. It's crime. Courtroom. Confidential. I think this is it right here. Give me a second. No, I don't want the lawyer, you know. Dang it. Oh, wait, here she is. Aha, I found you. I knew I was going to find you. Okay. Going to take that down for a second. Yeah. You know, don't be so nasty to Darren. Like, honestly, people are so willing just to be like, you know, he's lying about this and he didn't get kicked out of his home and he's just lying. What's his motive? What is his motive? Did he just come out of the woodwork to go, you know what, Daniel? YOLO, I'm just going to stick up for you, you know, type of thing? Nah. He wants answers just like we all do. Darren collects the reward and they split it. Okay, I know. If we were being facetious, okay? Yes, on that one. So stop screen. And I will drop the link. Okay, so this is Bev's channel right here, guys. I'm going to drop the link for it. I will also put it into the live tonight. Let me do that quickly first. Okay, I'm going to put that right on top there. Okay, save. There you go. You guys can find her link easy when this live ends as well. I'm going to drop it in chat. Again, great lady. Okay, we only met her the once. She's been in the chat room. When I seen the name, I was like, oh, okay, I've seen that name. I think usually Charmaine, more or less. You know, Charmaine's usually the one answering while I'm kind of going about the live. But her name is Bev. Again, child protection lawyer. Criminal defense lawyer before, and she was just a really amazing person. You could tell she's just level-headed, nice personality. I love that in somebody when you just feel like they're sane, right? They're not some whack job trying to come up here, you know, and They're just a good, balanced human being. So I really loved her being up here. Lauren's been up here from Astro by Lauren as well. Thanks again, Lauren, for the time that you've spent up here so far. Okay, hold on. Sorry, gotta scroll down. Hey, Kent, you're still awake? Wait, I didn't hit it yet. I'm a real girl in Toronto, Joe. Get over it. I'm not Danielle. Well, it's no different than Valerie. Hey, Valerie. Easy on the comments concerning the children. Exactly. Some people think Valerie is Janie. In there. So hey, are you sure you're a female? I want proof. Give me proof, Vanessa. That's it. You're wearing a halter top there in that picture. Give us the real version. Bring out your man self. If you think people are being rude to Darren, you better not go watch Dolly tonight. Well, I got my big girl panties on, and I got other things to do, unfortunately. Again, people need to have a little bit of common sense and, a little bit of decency a bit, right? They want information, and yet they're going to blast people's asses, right? That's the way the true crime works here. We know it. It's not like it's a big shock value here. But I'm just saying from this channel, come on. Like everyone's going to be there. So, did the reward money have everything to do with why he's coming out and that Daniel and him are trying to split it and everyone's trying to split this money? Come on, man. Let's get real. There are people that truly do care. If you could just provide those receipts, Vanessa, that would be great. Just kidding. Just kidding. But it's just that, like I said, don't be sus of everything and everybody. Sometimes you can just tell when people, even if you think that Darren got it wrong, right? Again, when someone just likes to speak their shit, I appreciate those people. Darren, even in the private conversations, he's like, Sonny, I know, I don't care if you don't believe me or not. I'm just telling you the truth here and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Darren, it's not that I don't not believe you. It's just, it's really hard to go down, from it being that something that could have been dealt with right away to this freaking orbit of now the kids are hidden somewhere. It's not to say it's not plausible. It's not to say that about not believing Darren. It's just about what's the chances that this is happening is astronomically that it didn't, right? But why not? Why not hold on to that hope that it is plausible? Why not? Who's crying? A crying shame is crying. Not really. Anyway, you guys have been amazing. I'm not staying on here. I got a thumbnail to make. Again, Belynda, Bev, tomorrow, Charmaine, myself. We're going to be talking about when Belynda was there on the 3rd and whatever the other memories of, because she was there 3 different dates, I think 3rd, 5th, and 18th. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking with Bev and her different scenarios that she's put together, and let Belynda ask Bev whatever she wants to, and let her clear the air with her son. And she's probably going to be like, I'm saying this one time and one time only. After that, leave my son alone. Leave him alone. Sonny, come on to Dolly's chat with us. Yeah, no, I don't got time. So sorry. I watch Dolly. Like, if I have time to watch Dolly, I usually watch him once I'm lying in bed and it's like 11 or 12 at night. And if he happens to be live. But other than that, just like Dolly has his shit to get ready for the show, I have my stuff to do, and I have a thumbnail to make and stuff like that. I have to work at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I'm not going to have a lot of time, but if I do catch it, do I want to set myself up knowing you guys have already given me, that about the bashing and everything going on? Do I feel like that type of drama in my life tonight? Prayers, yeah. Don't forget, if you guys haven't smashed that like button for Lily and Jack, make sure you do that, please. Okay, thank you, Aaron. And I got to go through these again because I have to. So as we say goodnight, Jane, thank you so much for the super chat and your comment. Same with, hey, come on, Annette. Let's get your butt up here. Annette, thank you for the super sticker. No comment. Kenny Cross, thank you for the super sticker. No comment as well there. That's just pure support right there, right? Ashlyn, 279, thank you for the super sticker. And, I was at it and then it kind of lagged. And then Capitor, I think I'm saying that right. Capitor, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Don't forget, you guys, for anyone that is a member, I'll be hosting a members only live. That means that it's simply for members only. Okay, simple as that. I haven't done one in over a year, but I'm going to do one. And that's where things are more loosey-goosey about how we talk. And it's more of a private little family feel. So anyone that wants to become a member, feel free. If you don't, feel free not to either. Either way, still doing a members this weekend. Jack and Lily, of course, duh. So with that being said, guys, I don't, you know what? Michelle After Dark. If you haven't watched her video today, I would. I like, again, people with common sense when they're talking on there. I was listening to some of Joseph Morris as he's talking as well. Again, just when people are giving level-headed thoughts, right? They're not into the woo, 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 woo shit. They're just into the, what I love is when you're watching somebody else, and it doesn't matter if it's a psychic or not, is that maybe there's something sometimes in there that just makes you go, I never thought of that, you know? And that's kind of when, but more, so I'm going to be honest. The psychics, unless it's certain people, I go to, those are the last things I typically look at. I will usually watch very level-headed content creators that are just wanting to put out information. And I actually really like Joseph Morris' video on when I was watching it. You can see where I watched up to, right? And kind of like he says, right? Is like he's talking about the different things that are said. And is it that we're being played to be fools of, well, this happened and Daniel lied by this, you know, or is it very plausible that this scenario could exist? Absolutely. You talking about Michelle After Dark? Yeah, she has Michelle Walks and Michelle After Dark. Yeah, I know her. I know her channel from the Nicola Bully case. You know, I know she's come in here before, and I've gone into her channel many times and stuff like that. You know, sometimes we don't disagree or we don't agree on a case and stuff like that. You know, but we're definitely very much both opinionated people. But my thing is this: we're all entitled to our own opinions, regardless. I don't care if I'm sitting up here or in real life. We're all still entitled to our own opinions. But there's just a way about being respectful. When you're in a chat room, it is a privilege, in a sense, to kind of come into somebody's chat room and then, you know, and talk about things, right? Because, again, if you're ignorant or disrespectful, I'll block you, right? But what for? We're grown-ass adults, right? If you're coming into somebody's channel, right, just be respectful. If you think that Daniel's a big-ass liar, you know, go ahead, say it. I think Daniel's a big-ass liar. That's fine. You know, you're not being rude and ignorant. Oh, Justice Jane, just because Justice Jane came in here, no, that's why we're ending the live. Don't tell her I said that, though. Yeah. Here, Sonny. Anyways, Valerie. Oh, Valerie. God, you always want me to sing that song. Okay. Anyways, Kent, thank you so much. Charmaine, Belynda, Daniel, Darren, Logan, Janie, anybody else? I can't sit there and give the Brooks side of the family too much credit because, you know, again, Malaya, leave, put your Facebook down or Facebook up. Just put it to private mode or something. Quit playing stupid games. Obviously, if you have your Facebook up and you allow people to message you, then obviously you're going to expect attacks, okay? It's kind of part of the territory right now. You know, your life is going to ever be changed. For Daniel, for the whole family, their life is going to forever be changed regardless, all because of the situation. So let's put up, okay, little Lily and Jack before we go. If you haven't hit that like button, do that. Sunny, check comments. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Come on, Allie, tell me. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? What am I looking? Is it? Wait, is what on now? Wait, what? Did he message me? Something? Wait, what? What? Let me take a look. Oh, I don't see anything. What's on now? What's on now? Tell me. Christine Rose comments. Christine Rose. I was speculating, not saying anything wrong. I'm thinking about the children above all else. Absolutely. Absolutely. Check the comments here tonight. No, you don't. Yeah, see, why are you saying check the comments? Just say it. Tell me what I'm supposed to be looking for instead of just check the comments. I don't got time. I got a live to do tomorrow. So if you want me to check comments, can you tell me what I'm looking for? Just spit it out, please. I got a thumbnail to make. I got stuff to do. I got sleep to happen. Copy and paste it for her. Could somebody please? Yeah, copy and paste for me. Do, 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 do. Christina is fine. Okay, so did somebody feel like Christina was, she was blaming Belynda? Like I said, it's one of me and a bunch of people talking. I can't catch everything for sure. Okay, Christina Rose, let's see. Christina Rose, are you being naughty? Let's see, where's Christina Rose? Christina Rose comments about Belynda. Let's take a little look-see. Christina Rose, the few here seem more concerned for the biological father. Wait, what? That's a weird comment, actually. The few here seem more concerned for the biological father than anyone else. That's weird. I'm not seeing that at all about this chat. Like, so meaning that is weird because that's not really. Thank you so much. Thank you, Aaron. Anyway, yeah, no. Don't fight, girls. Sunny is going to get, yeah. And when I get upset, I'm actually not upset, but I'll still boot your ass to the curb. Well, Christina, definitely leave Belynda alone. That lady is crushed by all this. Huh? All right, I'm going to trust the more than whatever. So, Christina, I don't know what the heck's going on, but if people are saying that you're doing that, I'm just going to trust them because I don't know your name versus I see the other one's names. So, take no offense as I kick your ass out of here. Please. Bye. Hold on. Right. Okay, right now. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Bye-bye, Christina. There we go. You guys, that better? All right, then. You guys know I don't multitask the best. If I have my sidekick, wingwoman, wingman to kind of look at comments for me, what do you mean give Christina a chance? You just finished knocking her. Fuck. My grandma's name was Christina. Definitely wasn't a Rose. No. I already blocked her, but so whatever. I'm not going to feel bad about it when I end this live, to be honest with you. You know, I just feel if enough people are saying it and I'm trying to scroll back, then chances are they were right. Yeah, if she was mean towards Belynda, absolutely. Absolutely. No one's going to get away with that shit. I think what Christina was saying was that we cannot rule anyone out. Maybe. Either way, I didn't have time to. I blocked her. See, Valerie says block her. And Joe, I didn't see exactly you being in her favor up there. Okay, no drama, guys. Don't like drama that way. I like to enjoy and laugh at sometimes and take it easy a bit. I know what you don't want. I'll give you a heads up. I'll take tails, actually. All right, y'all, you're going to give me tails up? Okay. Now, she kept pointing at the Belynda and Cody, speculating, but still, they don't need that. We know that, yeah, honestly. Belynda has been nothing but an absolute warrior. So anyone talking badly about Belynda, kiss my butt. Kiss my butt. Okay, guys. Thank you guys for your time tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you guys can be there for the live with Belynda on it. And if not, you can know where the replay button is. All right. You guys take care, Aaron. Take care, Joe. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Cindy Lou. Good night, Vanessa. Good night, Valerie. Bye, Nor. That's Black Nor, by the way. That's witchcraft. All right. Bye, Allie. That's it. Anybody else? As I scroll up a little bit. No, we're good. Oh, bye, Lee. Bye, Streamlabs. Anyways, you guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one. Thanks so much. Again, hit that like and share if you haven't. Jack and Lily prayers and answers for Jack and Lily above anything. Just going to find my... Ready? Bye-bye.